I want to talk about what I stand for. First, I want to give the reason that I want to talk about that. Um, the reason is that I recorded a video a couple of days ago and I stopped midway through and I decided that it wasn't very good and it wasn't up to my standards for what I want um, from this channel. But even saying that is a bit, that sounds a bit, what is the word? Um, Presumptuous, because this is not really a channel. I mean, it is, but it's not like I'm trying to do a thing, right? I'm just I'm just trying to do another thing. What I mean by that is like it's not like I want to be a YouTuber with a YouTube channel. It's just a place where I can express myself. And I want to express myself in a certain way, right? And it's not just that I want to come across a certain way. I also want to be a certain way. Um, and I'm going I know I'm being super vague. I'm not going to talk about the video that I didn't record because I think I'll try to re-record it, maybe in the next one or the one after that. But I will talk about this video, which is what I stand for. Like, how do I want to present myself here, and how do I want to be, in fact? I think those are things that one can really ponder about and choose and decide and follow through or not, or and not follow through as well sometimes, and sometimes do it better. I think we often fall short of our own expectations and the goals that we set for ourselves, but that doesn't mean we don't set them. We can still set them even if we fall short, in my opinion. But anyway, they're still useful. So what is it for me? First one is respect for people and belief in human potential. And I really like that. I I find that my mood is very much related to how much I believe in the importance of respecting people and believing in the human potential. So if I'm a little more pessimistic in those terms, then I will generally be in a low mood and feeling crappy. And if I am more optimistic about that, then I will be in a better mood and feeling better. And maybe that's not surprising to people, but it is interesting to me to notice that. And I think here in this category, I would put the things that most people would as well. Like, I wrote some words that refer to these things that we care about. And those are love, empathy, warmth, caring, understanding, tolerance. I think those generally are what we think about when we think of respect for people and belief in human potential. But of course, there are all flavors of this, so it really depends who you're talking to. Um, Even the meaning of specific words are is very different for different people. But what I think I mean there is mostly, and this is probably very simple, but it's mostly that people want different things, and that's okay. And it's a very simple statement that people want different things, and that's okay. But I think it's a hard one. It's not as trivial as it might sound. Like, even for me, um, that even though I care very much about this, it can be difficult to remember this at times or to act on it. So, yeah, people want different things, and that's okay. Um, Another point, separate from this first one, another thing that I stand for, that I want to embody is well, there are a bunch of words for it, but I wrote down clarity, clear thinking, wisdom, knowing which things are dumb, and lessons from trial and error. And this one is generally about truth, which I think is a complicated topic. Um, and what I mean by truth, I guess, is being as close to reality as possible, if that makes any sense. I do think it's possible for people to be closer or further away from reality in their beliefs and in their understanding of things. And generally, I think we want to, at least I want to, be as close to reality as possible, because that makes for better decisions, better even relationships, or all of that. So I would rate that highly. And sometimes I get lost in trying to understand this at whoop at more fundamental level, like what is truth? How can we get to truth and all of that? Like sometimes I get into rabbit holes about that. And it can be an interesting exercise, but it can also be quite a waste of time. Um, I think people get lost in the sauce, and I certainly do. And sometimes I try to read books, and I think that they are quite a waste of pages. I've come to think that writing fiction is probably it's most likely to be a better use of one's time than writing, I don't know, nonfiction or attempts to get to the truth of things. And that's one of the reasons why I actually do write fiction, right, and games. But of course, fiction is not the only important thing. But anyway, when I read these books on truth, I see words like ontological or epistemic, and people talking about things that don't exist as if they existed. And it's not that I can't understand big words if I try, but I have never seen an ontological, and I have never seen an epistemic. I see stuff, right? I see people, I see tables, I see the world, but yeah, I also see people getting kind of lost in things that they imagine exist, but it's just this concepts which maybe can be useful in places, but a lot of the time they really are not. And maybe I'm just dumb. I'm not very smart. I think I'm able to do quite a few things, and I have various interests. But I think I'm also a bit lucky that I'm not very smart, because I see smart people getting lost in their own thoughts a lot, and I have no motivation to interact with that kind of thing. So one of the things that I value within this aspect of clarity and truth and learning and wisdom is efficiency. So using one's time well and not wasting time with things that we can't know or that don't exist or stuff like that. I think that simplicity and straightforwardness, whenever possible, are good things to keep in mind. And as I say that, I realize that I'm not being very efficient with this video because it's already at 13 minutes, so I'll be quick. There's just an ending here. That in this aspect of truth, I think that evidence is very important. And maybe that's my historian brain. Because in history, evidence is king. We have sources and we analyze the motivations, possible motivations for these sources. And we say, oh, this source says this, it might be motivated in this way. This source says that, it wrote this in this context. Stuff like that, right? We have sources and we have motivations, and we as historians are very aware of those things. And I try to establish something like the truth from that. And I think because history is not a science, we are kind of extra careful. I think that other sciences which are more sciencey, they sometimes get cocky with their claims. Not that historians don't. I think historians are wrong a lot of the time as well, but I think good historians know to stick to the sources and say, oh, this source is to me more reliable or less reliable because it was written at this time with this intention and so on. And you usually don't see a historian saying, oh, for sure this happened, because all we have is like the sources, and the sources indicate that this happened, and that's all we got. Anyway, that was my spiel about clarity. The last point, the quick one, which is informality and not being pompous or egocentric, and being laid back and relaxed and lo-fi in some sense. I see a lot of like very super produced stuff on YouTube, and that gives people more credibility, and they, I guess, a lot of the time more credibility than they deserve. So since I don't have any credibility, I might as well appear that way. This stuff is just my opinions and what I like and what I dislike and what I want and what I don't want, and what I believe and what I don't believe, and that's all I have. And I try to make it fun and try to have fun, and that's my last and third point. And that was my watercolor. So just in case you missed the three, the first one is respect and love for people. Second one is clarity and truth, as far as we can go there. And the third one is informality and having fun, because that's, to me, what life is about. Play, fun, living, wanting. And that's going to be it for this one. Bye bye.